Why is India's upper house back in focus again? How 2026 can be the mid-term reset that we get to see in the parliament, and how Rajya Sabha is going to play a major role in not just resetting the politics but also the polity. As India moves towards 2026, the whole focus is around state elections and national politics. But quietly, a major battle is unfolding. The election to 25 seats in Rajya Sabha, which could decide the balance of power in our legislative temple, that is Parliament. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to not just understand about the significance of the election to these 75 seats, but we will be deciphering everything around Rajya Sabha. So let us begin with understanding that why these elections and when these elections are taking place. So when we are talking about these elections to Rajya Sabha, these elections are for the 75 seats, and the reason this amount becomes significant is the fact that this is 1/3 of the house. Now these vacancies are staggered across the year, they are not happening all at once. But at the same time, these elections are coinciding with major state assembly elections, be it West Bengal, be it Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam, and the mid-term phase of 18th Lok Sabha also begins very then. That is why we are placing so much emphasis on these 75 seats, because this will be the one which will determine not just how Parliament is going to decide about legislation, it is also going to have an impact on the balance that we get to see between NDA and the opposition that stands in front, especially till 2029. So the core issue that we are trying to address and understand today is that the control of upper house will decide that how the union government will be able to govern, what kind of policies that they will be able to bring out, what kind of constitutional amendments they can look into, and all of this. Now to understand this in detail, let us start understanding more about Rajya Sabha and how it functions. So when we are talking about Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house of the parliament, it is seen as a house of the states. Now when we are talking about the house of the states or the council of the states, it is a stabilizing factor, because when we are talking about parliament and the two houses, Lok Sabha, which is the house of people or the lower house, it is one which gets dissolved. This is the one which does not get dissolved, so it is the stabilizing force which is present there. And second biggest factor, that this is the deliberative body which is focused on, which is emphasizes on federal democracy. So when we are talking about Lok Sabha, it represents the people, but when we are talking about Rajya Sabha, it represents the states as political units. It is the place where we will find space for regional and federal interests as well. And that is why they have been very well placed in the constitution, because if we want to balance the popular mandate, what people want and how people want, and their representatives in being the house, then we also need to focus equally on the federal wisdom on which our polity is based and the continuity that is very much required to ensure that it exists. Now that when we have understood the basic feature of Rajya Sabha, let us move ahead to understand more about it. So when we are talking about composition of Rajya Sabha, the maximum sanction strength is 250 members, but as of now we have 245 members. How do we have 245 members? In this whole number, we have 238 which have been elected from the states and the eligible union territories, and 12 members which are nominated by the president, they are also included. In this context, we get to see the current effective strength to be 245 members. However, the representation here of the states is different, because the larger states get more seats and the smaller states get lesser seats, and if they are a really small state, they are also ensured in terms of representation, but they get only minimum guaranteed voice. So what do we get to see in Rajya Sabha? That we have presence of federal features, the federal wisdom, the federal understanding, and this is where the popular voice will not dominate this presence at all. Now, can you tell me in the comment section, based on the state you belong to, how many Rajya Sabha seats are there for your given states? Now, when we have understood the composition strength, let us also move ahead and understand that how it functions out in terms of tenure for the members. So, when we are talking about Rajya Sabha as the upper house which does not dissolve, in this context, it is a continuous and permanent house. And this is where members have a 6-year term. Now, if members have a 6-year term, how it is a permanent house? It is a permanent house because 1/3 of the members are retired every 2 years. And this is what ensures the continuity and non-dissolution and also continuity for policies and institutions. Furthermore, it facilitates the staggered elections, for example, that we are going to see in 2026. It is not happening at once. It is going to happen 3 times across the year. So, this is where Rajya Sabha elections also get a strategical edge and they have strategical decisiveness involved from the states, involved from the legislative assemblies and from the political parties as well. And this is something that prevents the sudden upturn in the parliament because this is staggered, members will be retiring every 2 years, there will be no sudden ideological change, sudden ideological capture of parliament. And this is what we have seen in last 2 terms of our union government, where there have been multiple legislation which have been throttled in Rajya Sabha because they did not enjoy the majority there. So, the ideological capture by the union government or the people who want to certain bills to pass, that cannot take place, and this is ensured by this permanency, staggered retirement that takes place and the elections as well. Now that we have understood that how many members are there, what is the composition, what is the tenure, now let us also move towards the elections and how they are done. So, when we talk about the electoral mechanism for Rajya Sabha, it is again very different from what we see for Lok Sabha. Here we get to see the election of members not by general public but by the state assembly. And who in the state assembly? We have MLAs in the state assembly which elect the Rajya Sabha members which are going to represent their state in Rajya Sabha. And there is a method for that, that is proportional representation by single transferable vote. So, when we are talking about proportional representation by single transferable vote, it is a voting system where electors are not marked based on just one preference, rather they are ranked as per the preference and then votes are transferred until a particular candidate secures the required quota, ensuring there is a proportional representation across. If you want me to do a separate video on this in detail, we can take this in a separate session. Now, when we are talking about this particular method, this has been specifically chosen because it allows for an open ballot system. Here we get to see the applicability of party whip, and also this outcome directly gets to mirror the assembly arithmetic, the proportional representation, not just the popular vote. So, Rajya Sabha elections are placed as such that they are effectively the extension of state politics only. Now, once we have covered the basics related to Rajya Sabha, now let us move to powers of Rajya Sabha. That is where we will get to have a basic understanding that how influential 75 seats election of Rajya Sabha will be in the next year. So, when we are talking about powers, we have to understand that Rajya Sabha plays a very significant role as an institution itself, because it is the one which ensures the federal safeguard, because it protects the interest of all the states and especially smaller and regional states, and it places a proper check on centralizing tendencies, if at all, that can be seen from the union government. Other than that, we also find a significant deliberative role where deliberations, discussions are going to get an extension because it gets to revise, scrutinize legislation, and this is the place which encourages expert debate and also consensus building, which is one of the most important factors when we are talking about democracy, where the representatives are being sent. If they are not understanding, if there is no consensus on it, then the checks and balances factor is eliminated out. Then it also ensures that we have discussed policy continuity. Senior leaders are present, experts are present, which give it a institutional memory, and long-term national perspective is focused on rather than the short-term electoral logic, popular mandate issues other than that. Now, this is where we move to understand the powers of Rajya Sabha, starting with when we are talking about where it is placed equal with Lok Sabha. So, if it is a case of ordinary legislation or if it is a case of constitutional amendment, in both of these scenarios, you will find Rajya Sabha has a major role to play. When we are talking about ordinary legislation, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are equally placed, and in this scenario, bill will require approval of both of the houses. Rajya Sabha can delay the bill, Rajya Sabha can enforce negotiation, Rajya Sabha can also refer them to committees as well. So, in this scenario, Rajya Sabha has the provision to amend the bill, detain the bill for 6 months and also reject the bill. When we are talking about constitutional amendment, in this scenario also we get to see that there is a mandatory approval of Rajya Sabha that is required. No matter how strong the majority is present in Lok Sabha, that will remain insufficient to get the constitutional amendment passed as a legislation. And in this way, Rajya Sabha plays an effective role in blocking transformative reforms unilaterally. Can you tell me in the comment section which kind of legislation places Rajya Sabha at a lesser footing as compared to Lok Sabha, and what is the difference there that we get to see? Now, there is another scenario when we are talking about equivalent to Lok Sabha. There are certain places where Rajya Sabha has some special and exclusive powers as well. For example, Article 249, where it allows Parliament to legislate on stateless subjects. That can be only done by recommendation of Rajya Sabha, and it requires a 2/3 majority in the upper house itself. Other than that, as per Article 312, if there is any creation of all India services, that can be only done by Rajya Sabha. And that means Rajya Sabha becomes the constitutional guardian of federalism. If there is to be any change in the federal structure which can be affected by such things such as stateless subjects or creation of any all India services, because they would be centralized, that has to come from Rajya Sabha. That has to be voice of the representatives who understand regional politics, state issues, and that is when it would be brought to the fore. Now that we have a clear view into how Rajya Sabha plays a very instrumental role in our polity, now let us quickly understand that how it becomes so important for 2026. So when we are talking about 2026, as I said, 75 seats are falling vacant. Now if you look at the current balance in Rajya Sabha, 129 is with NDA, which is also at the union government, and opposition only has 78. Now 2026 can humongously alter this number or this number. If it alters this number, there will be dominance of NDA, and this does not need to be seen with a political lens. You will find if the union government, the political party which is at the power, and it gets a stronghold in Rajya Sabha, the bigger reforms might be passed unilaterally, and that will take away the barrication that is created by opposition. And when we are talking about democracy, we would want the opposition to play an important role. So that role will diminish out of the picture like it has diminished as of now in Lok Sabha. Second scenario, if the number is altered on the opposition side, this will give opposition the actual power that it needs to block and change reforms if they are not effective enough, if they are not in the right direction. Otherwise, opposition does not stand in such a majority as of now to ensure that they have the blocking capacity. So the legislative climate up and until next Lok Sabha elections, the kind of proposals that will come out and the acceptability and the legislations that will take place, that will be dependent on how this number changes via these very 75 seats. Now, I hope you have a clarity on the fact that how Rajya Sabha is also important in our parliament. Even though Lok Sabha gets to decide that who is going to govern it, Rajya Sabha remains as a standing force to see how effectively they will be able to govern and what direction it will take. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.